You remember our cavities, our body cavities that we talked about last semester. For example, we've got the cranial cavity up here. We've got the abdominal, pelvic cavity. You saw these regions in the rat, right? The names for the regions are similar, correspond to the cavities that are inside them. But cavities refer to spaces inside of our body. The one right here is the thoracic cavity. So it actually is a cavity, right? A space. This is, and it doesn't mean there's nothing in that space, but it is a separate space from the abdominal cavity. Abdominal cavity would actually be right here. So the thoracic cavity is separated from the abdominal cavity by the diaphragm, that muscular structure that we'll talk about more with respiratory and breathing. The sternum is right here. So this is a top-down view of the thoracic cavity surrounded by these bones right here. Actually would be in like that because we've also got a vertebral cavity back there. So this is where the heart is in the thoracic cavity. It's not the only thing in the thoracic cavity. The other thing is the lungs, is another big thing. Here's our heart, right next to the lungs, about the size of your fist. And right in the center of that thoracic cavity, you'll see that this pointed, it's kind of offset a little bit. So the apex is actually at the bottom, super kind of counterintuitive, because the base is then kind of at the top here, right here. What that means is it's kind of offset, and that actually will have consequences for the anatomy of the lungs. As you can see here, kind of squishes the left lung a bit because it's off to our left side and our right side. So although we usually associate base with bottom, the base of the heart is at the top here. So that's where it is in the thoracic cavity. I want to show you one picture that you saw, should look familiar from what you saw in lab when we did the rat dissection. What do you think this thing is right here? This is our diaphragm. It's amazing how thin it is, that tissue. And again, we'll come back to how that moves during, and actually contracts when you're breathing. Down here is liver, and so this would be abdominal cavity here. So that means what is above here? What is this thing right here? Well, it's labeled right here. This is our thoracic cavity. You can see the heart hiding in there.